on this upcoming Attractions episode, The Mandalorian is back. Plus, trailers for The Midnight Sky, Jiu-Jitsu, Songbird, Run, and more. Plus, our review for Honest Thief. All this on Midnight Double Feature. And we're back again for another episode. How are we doing today?
I am a swell, my friend. I just finished some work. But yeah, like I look forward to these episodes during the week because, man, like the week is, and it's only Monday, right? And I was like, man, like the week is kicking my ass. So I look forward to upcoming attractions so much. What about you? How you doing?
I'm right with you there, buddy. It's very relatable. That being said, I'm seeing reviews coming out for Miles Morales Spider-Man, so I'm really keen to get into that soon.
Yeah, while we're on it, I just paid off my PlayStation 5. Like, I literally, during lunch today, because I'm working from home, I packed up my Xbox One X and, cables and all, and traded it in. And, man, like EB Games have, like, a thing right now where it's like, if you trade in your console or game or whatever towards your next-gen console, then you get 50% extra bonus trade credit.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think it ended today. I'm so sorry.
Because, dude, I have 3 consoles I could trade in if I wanted to.
That coupled with my, I think, level 1 EB or whatever, like, because I'm like the highest thing, like, whatever, which also gets you extra bonus trade in. That, like, but all of those things combined got me $500 off my PlayStation. And, coupled that with the $200 I've already put down, I just needed to pay another $50. And there it is. I fucking get to get my PlayStation on Thursday. I'm so excited. That's
intense. Well, I hope your PlayStation has no issues, as there has been some reports, including the number one feature that they were sort of pushing about PS5 was the fans and how cool it was. And there's already like photos going around of them overheating.
I saw that. Did you look into that? Because it's not, I don't think it's the unit. So what it is, it's basically a couple of images of kind of like I think it's at Walmart, and it's a demo box. So it's a demo PlayStation, and it's encased in like this plastic housing, and there is no room to breathe for the console at all. Like, it is completely encased, like locked in a plastic box. And that's why it's overheating. Like, it will not have an issue. It will not have an issue in like normal households. Like, it's just, I can't see that being an issue. Like, it's the same as like an iPhone, right? If you take your iPhone, takes it and like put it in the sun, in direct sunlight, it's going to say this, like, your iPhone is overheating.
Bro, my biggest complaint about my phone is when I'm driving in my car and I've got it up on the GPS on a hot day, it'll always overheat. And that's the worst thing when, like, I've got Google Maps up and it starts slowing down and then it goes black.
That's actually never happened to me.
That happens to me all the fucking time. It's so annoying.
What do you have, like a 3GS? What phone do you have?
I think it's the XS Max, but I think what it might be is I have it in the middle of my like screen. I think a lot of people have it at the side. I don't know. That's the only thing. You know me, man. For some reason, technology hates me and always fucks up for no reason.
Boy, do I know that.
Yeah. And for that particular reason, usually avoid buying consoles at launch. I think I might have talked about this before. But, once PS5 gets Horizon Forbidden West, I'm there day one. I'm day fucking one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, I kind of wanted to migrate, because like the guys that I play Warzone with, we're all kind of like migrating like all at the same time. So we're just like, You know what, fuck it, let's just do it. And, I was lucky enough to snag a pre-order early. Like I did not know when I pre-ordered it that there was this huge issue regarding lack of pre-orders. So I considered myself pretty lucky. So I was like, you know what, I'm getting in on this. Spider-Man Miles Morales, I never finished the original Spider-Man. So it's a good...
How did you not?
I know. It's a good opportunity for me to buy the deluxe edition, which comes with the original Spider-Man and Miles Morales. So I'm keen to be just diving into that next weekend.
The ending of that game is they do some cool emotional sort of storytelling, which is pretty crazy. I got teary during a fucking Spider-Man video game, and I'm not ashamed to say that. That's all I'll say. But on that topic of just talking shit, what have you been watching, bro?
Man, I tell you what, I've been kind of like, ever since I finished my essays and stuff like that, all my kind of like uni commitments, I haven't really been watching many new movies, mainly because there's really nothing out there that interests me. Like, that's why we only have one review on the show today, and that's coming from you, which is very rare. Like, usually it's kind of like me who has a review.
Also, I should note this review was meant to be in the last episode, but I forgot about it. so I almost had nothing.
Exactly. But over Halloween, actually, I've been diving into some old like horror movies. So I watched the first Halloween film for the first time ever, the 1978 film, which was incredible. I watched the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was incredible. And I watched a couple more movies. So this is for Patrick Harrington. The reason we're doing The Wrestler for the next episode of Feature Presentation is because I am kind of like on this kick of like wanting to watch movies that just passed me by. Like, 2008, I'm 15 years old, and, I had no interest in Darren Aronofsky. Like, I had no interest in Mickey Rourke as this old washed-up wrestler. So I was like, I'm not going to go see that. I'm sorry. But, between Patrick's incessant nagging of like, hey, cover this fucking movie, and me hearing that it's an actually damn good movie, I've watched it. And Patrick, I'm not going to give you my thoughts on it yet, so you're just going to have to wait until the next feature presentation.
He is punching a wall right now. He is punching a fucking wall. That's so funny.
Exactly. So, I kind of like, I've been diving into this because we're kind of like in a lack of, like, we're in a drought, basically, right? There's no good giant films that are coming out. So I'm kind of doing this thing where I'm going back and finding things that I missed, and, I'm finding a new way to appreciate them. So that's kind of like what I've been doing. Haven't really been watching too much TV. I started The Queen's Gambit. I've seen the first 2 episodes. I really dig it. I might even review that on the show next episode. Mandalorian has obviously been another big consideration. But other than that, I really haven't been watching anything else. I've been focusing on the podcast. Colin and I recorded a Reservoir Dogs bonus episode. That movie is 100 minutes, and our podcast clocked in at 2 hours 40. So it's like, man.
Did you know there's a Reservoir Dogs video game?
Yes. Yeah.
I heard about this just the other day, and I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know why that's weird to me, but it is.
Right, and we're getting Bad Crystal rolling again, so we're just recording the episodes just ahead of launch, so we get a bit of a head start, because we anticipate that the holiday season's probably going to be a bit busy and a bit crazy, and our main priority is the main MDF Minado feature feed, just to make sure that there's like no slowdowns or anything. We're very cautious about our scheduling, and we want to make sure that there's no weeks left behind. So we want to be consistent and steady, and Minado feature is our main sort of priority. So yeah, man, there's like all of that's been kind of going on. Been working out, just whatever. Just been looking after myself. Movies, I don't know why. Like there hasn't been anything that's piqued my interest.
Bro, the last 2 weeks, like with the whole presidential election, I don't think anyone wants to release anything right now, because that's the last thing on most people's minds, I think.
Except Borat. By the way, we are recording this episode live at the Four Seasons Total Landscaping, which was kind enough to give us their exclusive event room in their driveway, which is fantastic, dude. I love it.
Very grateful for that, especially since all the amazing, prestigious people have been here, including Jim's Gardening. I think that's about it. I don't think anyone else has done conferences here or anything. Yeah.
I mean, hey, look, Giuliani's over there right now giving a press conference. I don't know what that's all about.
I can't tell from here. Is he tucking his shirt or taking out his dick? It's hard to tell.
I don't know. You don't know with Giuliani. Maybe we'll just ask the adult bookstore next door or the crematorium on the other side, because this is a wild place to hold a press conference.
That is so fucking funny. Holy shit.
What have you been up to, dude?
I've been watching, the main thing I've been watching is I've been catching up on Peaky Blinders. I never watched that show. It passed me by. Pretty good. Although I did spend...
season, yeah.
I spent the whole first season though thinking the main character was what's his name? The guy who whispers in Jupiter Ascending. And he won a Razzie, but he also got an Oscar. It's not him, Eddie Redmayne.
Eddie Redmayne?
I spent the whole first season thinking he was Eddie Redmayne, and then I look it up. I'm like, oh no, it's the fucking Doctor
Cillian
from
Murphy.
Batman. Yeah. I am liking the show though. It is pretty cool. On top of that, I saw the other day Fantasy Island, which I think came out in cinemas in like January or February. I was gonna review it, but here's all I have to say about that. It's trash. It's probably the trashiest trash that's ever trashed. It's kind of like just on all points, just trash. That's all I have to say about that, really.
Very, very, very critical perspective you've taken there. I love it.
Yeah. That's how we do things at Midnight Double Feature. We leave no stone unturned. We have to be as thorough as possible. What else have I been watching? I haven't seen it yet, but I realized The Boys is on Amazon Prime, so I think I'm going to get around to that very soon.
Yeah, sorry, you just reminded me to talk about that as well. I mean, like, I saw it. Season 2 was great. I finished it. Let's move on. Like, I mean, like, look, I'm not. I think the second season was kind of missing the kind of oomph that the first season was. You know, like it kind of like broke new ground. It just kind of came out of nowhere. So all of that is naturally kind of like missing from the second one. But I think they did a good job, you know, making up for it. I'm excited to see season 3. Homelander continues to be one of the best characters on TV. You know, Anthony Starr is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'm really keen to see where it goes.
I just remembered the one other thing I saw the other day. I rewatched Bruno. Fuck, that movie's funny. The situations he puts people in are just insane. And it just got me thinking about my review for Borat 2 and how like harsh I was on it. And it makes me stand by it even more.
There's
no. I'm saying I'm planting my feet even firmer because like I look at movies like that, like Bruno and the first Borat, and like the amount of back-to-back crazy shit he was doing and the reactions he got was insane. And I feel like in the new one, even if you ignore the scripted stuff, it just was not on the same level. Anyways, I think it's time that we move on.
Was that in our last episode? Dude, I think it's...
Was it?
I think it's been... I don't think so. I think it was a month ago. Was it? Fuck me. Maybe I'm getting old, dude. Like time, all the time just seems to blur together.
Well, for everybody else, if you're new to the podcast, thank you for joining us. Upcoming attractions are the episodes where we talk about the latest news, reviews, all that fun stuff. While feature presentations, we focus on one film and have a lot of fun. Recently, we had episode 200 with Back to the Future. It was my first time seeing Back to the Future, so if you want to hear the reactions of someone seeing it for the first time ever in 2020, it's right there. Someone who has also not seen Back to the Future 2, so apparently it's a completely different experience, I learned. But yeah, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes and join our Patreon, buy our merch at midnightdoublefeature.com. Those are the plugs. Let's get to the news. First piece, something sad, a little bit sad. Sean Connery.
Yeah, well, Sean Connery, man, like, I mean, it's interesting because my brother and I kind of grew up watching like the tail end of his movies, which are not amazing. Like I'm talking like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I'm talking about The Rock. I'm talking about Indiana Jones. Like Indiana Jones' Last Crusade is actually outstanding. That's fucking one of the best movies I've seen in my life.
I would say The Rock is pretty great too. I like The Rock.
I rewatched it. Like, you know, we kind of like rewatched it the night that he passed away because we were like, man, we kind of want to watch something that's Sean Connery oriented. It's good. It holds up. It's fucking stupid, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, so mainly, I mean, obviously the biggest thing that Sean Connery has to do with in popular culture is James Bond, right? I mean, like 1960, Dr. No, he was the first ever James Bond. And, you know, my dad and I have always kind of like shared this kind of like, kind of link or like whatever, like shared love of Bond. And, you know, my dad has fond memories of, as a kid, going to the cinema in Fiji when he was growing up and watching, you know, these early James Bond movies, dude. Like, you know, with Sean Connery as Bond. And, you know, like very recently I bought the box set and watched those movies with him, you know, and it was just kind of like it just kind of like tells you just how timeless movies are and just how, you know, they can be used as like bonding tools and things like that, man, like that people just kind of like overlook, you know, like people often just think that it's just a movie that someone makes and puts out and that's it. But that's just not the case. Like, you know, people, you know, like friendships are made through movies, you know, like rivalries are made through movies. It's just so much bigger than the actual digital print or the celluloid that movie is actually printed on. So, you know, Sean Connery was a huge kind of like guy as we were growing up. Even the Untouchables dude, you know, where he's he's assisting Elliot Ness in apprehending Al Capone, played by Robert De Niro. Man, like he was a powerhouse. Honestly, he just absolutely was. And you know, it was an absolute tragedy losing him. But I mean, like he was 90. You know, like he led a fantastic life. I say the same thing about Stan Lee. Like I was initially upset that Stan Lee died, but I was not at the same time. You know, like I was just like, he lived a great life. You know, same as Sean Connery, he lived a fantastic life. He was a sir. All right, he was a goddamn knight. So, I mean, like, I just think, like, yes, we should be mourning the death of someone like Sean Connery and someone who did so much for the art of film. But at the same time, man, God led an incredible life. Now, like, I mean, obviously, we can talk about but we're not going to. We can talk about the way that he treated women, most notably his wife. And granted, yes, it is absolutely deplorable, the stuff that he said, you know, and whether he did treat her that way behind closed doors, you know, remains to be seen, or what he was saying. Like, you know, whether he said that and didn't do it, or whether he said that and did do it, all we know is that he said it. And that in itself is terrible. But, and I'm saying this, but not saying that it's totally correct or that it is correct in any way, shape, or form. He grew up and was that person in that particular period of time when women were not the people that we should respect now. You know, like, I mean, I'm not dancing around this at all, and I'm not making it right at all.
He was born in the 50s, is what you're trying to say. And back then, it was considered socially acceptable.
He was born in the 30s.
Oh, sorry. He started acting in the 50s. Sorry, my bad.
Right. And it wasn't socially, I don't even think it was socially acceptable. It was just that he didn't have the kind of, you know, like, I don't think that we should judge people based on information that was provided to us 40 years ago, because I think that Barbara Walters interview was somewhere around 1980 or somewhere around that. Like, it was just ages ago. You know, we don't know whether he was eventually able to change his mind or he's thinking about it or anything like that. You know, it's just one of those things. So it was a different era. You know, like, I hate making this comparison, but I guarantee you, people of Sean Connery's age back then were often calling people of color colored people. Like, you know, things that are not acceptable today by today's standards. So, again, not making it right. I completely think that it's an absolutely terrible thing to say, but we don't know whether he felt that way when he passed away. And whether he did, fine. Fuck him.
When he passed away, you know, maybe not, but back then, in his prime, he probably beat his wife. I'm taking that as fact. You know, but you know, he wasn't the only one doing that back then. All we know is that he said it. We don't know whether he actually did, right? I mean, like, we got to remember that. Like, the saying of the thing, he said it's okay to smack a woman. He said it's okay to smack a woman if they misbehave, like they're a fucking pet, like.
Sure, but he's also, don't forget, he's playing James Bond, a alpha male. You know, we've seen actors who have very much in media tried to portray, like, also try to present themselves as the person they're playing in movies as well.
Why trying so hard to defend this guy, man? He said
I'm not. I know he said it, but I'm just saying, like, we've seen actors trying to portray themselves in their own personal lives as the characters that they're playing as well.
Do you think he was doing that?
I don't know. I don't think anything. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. He probably did beat his wife. I'm just saying, like, all we know for a fact, and it's important that we judge someone on what we know on facts rather than speculation. He said that he beat his wife. We didn't see any footage We didn't see any evidence that he actually beat his wife. Like, I'm just saying.
If someone claims to do something that is generally considered a bad thing, I'm going to believe them. Like, that's like a testimony, you know? That's like if you told me you kicked a dog, I would believe you.
But, I mean, like, is that out of my character? You know, like, you start to bring in, like, all of these things into it, right? Like, I mean, like, you need evidence. Otherwise, it's just circumstantial.
You're defending him so hard. You're defending him so hard, bro.
No, I'm defending evidence. That's all I'm defending, right? Like,
He said it.
He said it. But he didn't.
What's his motive?
Do we see him do it?
But why does that matter to you?
No, I'm just saying, like, I think it's important that we just kind of, like, look at what we know. You know, like, that's what matters to me.
Okay, well, he said he's okay with it, and that's enough for me to say I disagree with your view on life. I'm not going to go out and speak ill of the dead, but yeah, personally, I have no connection to him.
I'm not saying that you do. I'm not saying that this is what you think you should be. Like, I'm just not. I'm saying that I think that as a society, we should kind of go off the evidence that we have. I mean, look, this is exactly why when a murderer confesses to something that they've done, they don't, you know, the prosecutor's not going to trial them or take them to trial just on the confession. You know, like, they need evidence. They need proof that what they've done or what they've said is actually what they're saying. So, yeah, that's, hey, I'm just saying, what I'm saying here is completely irrational.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make it clear that I do not agree, and I do not, you know, yeah.
Again, that's fair enough.
Let's move on to some other news. What did you think of The Mandalorian? We got 2 new chapters 9 and 10. It was exciting to have it come back. What are your initial thoughts on, should we go episode by episode, maybe?
Yeah, what a breath of fresh air. Like, I mean, it just, you know, it's something that I think we just kind of like all needed, considering what, like when this released in terms of like proximity to certain political events. So I think, you know, it was just a huge breath of fresh air. The first episode, chapter 9, The Marshal, was probably one of the best episodes of the show that I've seen. And, you know, I did have that gripe in season 1 where I'm just like, man, like, I don't know how I feel about this mission of the week kind of thing, you know? Like, I don't know how I feel about the whole disconnected sort of element of it. And it was initially disappointing to see that this first episode back was exactly that. Like, you know, it basically had absolutely zero to do with what happened in the season finale. It didn't continue the through line. I mean, like, you know, and especially ending on that huge cliffhanger. You know, we don't find out anything else about Moff Gideon or anything like that at all, or the Darksaber. There's nothing there at all. So, you know, initially I was a bit disappointed, but then I kind of like, you know, just thought about it. I'm like, man, like I enjoyed myself for the last 55 minutes or however much. Like, I had so much fun just watching that episode that I just did not give a shit. Like, you know, in hindsight, you know, him kind of like walking into what is it, Moss whatever, the I can't remember the town's name.
It's not Moss Eisley. It's a new name. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember the time. But and then like him encountering someone who looked like Boba Fett but was not Boba Fett. It was actually Timothy Olyphant's character. And, you know, Timothy Olyphant is amazing. I love Timothy Olyphant. Like, he's just he plays roles like this very often that are, and like, I know he caught a lot of shit for this actually, because he's kind of being stereotyped into this, where he's kind of like an authority figure. You know, in the show that he's known for called Justified, he actually plays a marshal, like, you know, hence the name of the title, The Marshal. And, you know, like, he's just such a great kind of like introduction. He has such a great introduction. I love the way that he and Mando kind of play off each other. The episode itself was great. It reminded me, you know, out of all of the episodes, this is probably the one that most seems like a Western. You know, guy rolls into a town, guy befriends like a town authority figure, and then they kind of like team up to take down a mutual bad guy, you know? And it's such a fantastic way to kind of like reintroduce us to the Mandalorian and just kind of like his values as well. Because the first, like, dude, he kind of kills someone in cold blood. Well, leaves the guy like hanging upside down on a street lamp to get killed in cold blood. So it's again a reminder that we're not really watching a good guy. Like, this is a guy with some moral grays. And then, we finally get up to the Crate Dragon, and the Crate Dragon's absolutely incredible. Like, it's a mixture of CGI and practical effects. But, man, my favorite part of the entire episode was when the Crate Dragon comes out of the cave and the aspect ratio of the thing just opens up, and there's no letterboxing anymore. It looks like a full-on IMAX picture. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, this looks like an actual film. Like, like, this looks, I can't believe we're seeing this on our TVs, and like the whole, like when the whole Boba Fett element of it, like, I caught immediately. I know a few people who were like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like at the end, because I think maybe it just helped that I knew that Boba Fett was eventually going to make an appearance in this season. I wasn't expecting him to make an appearance that soon. But, he's played by Tamura Morrison, and I know who Tamura Morrison is. So when he kind of like turns over and then it cuts to black, I'm just like, I texted my brother. I'm like, dude, you need to watch fucking Mandalorian. So, yeah, man, it was awesome. Chapter 9 was fantastic. And yeah, what do you think about Chapter 9?
What's left to say? I think, look, I'm actually weirdly okay with the whole episodic sort of structure of this show. I think it's because it's such a Western type of trope, I feel. I could be wrong on that. I haven't seen a lot of Western sort of TV shows. I think I used to see a little bit of Bonanza. Wait, is that even a Western? I don't think it is. Doesn't matter. Anyways, it somehow
like
works for me. It's old as hell. That's all I remember. Anyways, I know, like, I'm actually weirdly okay with it. I don't know. I think it's because the whole Star Wars universe, I like seeing new corners of it. I like seeing, like, even just seeing a new part of Tatooine was interesting to me. Was getting to spend real time with the Sand People, and sort of almost humanizing them in a way. I find that really interesting. I find that really exciting too, that we can see all this. It kind of feels almost like, like fan fiction, or like more like the old school Expand Universe comics. It's starting to feel like that.
With the Sand People especially, it's like, we're not going wider and introducing new things. We're going deeper. We are getting to know things that we already know about, but are on a very surface level. So kind of like giving them a backstory and kind of like giving them, even just like, did you notice how they were like traveling in single file, which is exactly what like Obi-Wan says in episode 4? Like, just little details like that.
The fact that they like use some sort of like sign language. Apparently they had like an actual deaf actor, and he sort of altered typical sign language in a way. So it's kind of like a sci-fi version of sign language, which I find, apparently hearing that, I think that's really interesting. I just love I love the fact that it's kind of like a weekly vibe almost. I like how every episode could be anything, which the next episode, which we'll talk about soon, is another sort of like thing to show that. Do we know, can you just fill me in here, because I'm a little bit ignorant and not fully sure, but with the guy playing Boba Fett that we see at the end, that's not the actor who played him originally, is it?
And so not in the not in Empire Strikes Back, but he did play, technically in universe, it makes sense because he played Jango Fett, who like apparently Boba is modeled after.
Right.
Because the son is supposed to be a clone of Jango Fett, who would eventually grow up to look like his father, Jango Fett. So it makes sense that Tamura Morrison, the actor, would look like Jango Fett.
Yeah, I remember hearing something like that. Thanks for filming in. I think the other big takeaway, and this applies to both episodes, but I noticed it with this one, is one, it feels like the special effects are even more impressive, and that was so impressive last time. Like, it feels like watching a new Star Wars movie, which is incredible. But also, I noticed in both of these episodes, the hand-to-hand combat, I think, is improved. Like, the choreography. Like, there wasn't a lot of that in last season, and we got two fight scenes like that so far in this episode, the next one. And I find that's actually really improved, and I find that like really interesting. I find that really exciting. It's not all just going to be blaster fights and stuff like that. And yeah, pretty exciting stuff.
Just a little bit of a trivia for the Krayt Dragon, though. We have seen a Krayt Dragon in Star Wars before.
Yeah, I heard it was like bones of it or something, right?
Yeah, because I remember watching episode 4 as a kid, and C-3PO and R2, you know, once they land on Tatooine, they get separated, right? So 3PO is like mumbling and grunting about like how shit of a piece or whatever piece of shit, like, you know, R2 is. And he wanders by like the bones of like this big serpent. And I'm pretty sure on our episode 100, I said that, dude. I'm just like, what? I've always wondered what the fuck is that? Like, you know, and it's just kind of wild because they never explain it, which is one of the most amazing things about Star Wars. They're just so then you're like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like, you know, oh, what the fuck is that? Like, I'll never find out because, you know, like they don't explain it. And it's just, it kind of like leaves you guessing. So yeah, finding out that was a Krayt Dragon, dude, was just like, ugh. Love it.
Yeah, I think what's really cool, and I think it's personally what I think is a really good sign of good writing, is the fact that they're treating the other episodes, the films, as if they're episodes that sort of a backstory to this show. So it's like rather than always bring in new stuff, they're bringing in older elements and they go deeper. They explore that. They're going, what stones weren't unturned before, and I think that's really exciting. And what I really love is the fact that we haven't really met any main characters. I'm glad we haven't met Obi-Wan or Luke Skywalker or anyone yet. I'm sure that might happen down the track. Like, we're getting Boba Fett now, but still we're meeting Boba Fett in a whole new light. Like, we've never seen him without a mask, so that's really cool, I think.
Yeah, so let's get to episode 10. So the first episode, episode 9 was directed by Jon Favreau. Episode 10, do you know who directed it?
Fucking Ant-Man, Peyton Reed, right?
Peyton Reed, yep.
And I thought it was funny because watching the episode, I was kind of like, this kind of feels a bit like a filler. There's some cool stuff, but it's like, it's a bit more bland. And then I see directed by Peyton Reed, oh, there you go, because that's my problem with the fucking Ant-Man movies too. Why did Disney fucking love him for some reason? He's like the only director to direct the whole Marvel trilogy, it looks like, if he does Ant-Man and Wasp. 2 or whatever. And then
James
he's got
Gunn.
this. Oh, is he doing the next Ant-Man?
He's doing the next Guardians.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. Okay, so besides James Gunn, but I would not compare Peyton Reed to James Gunn, you know? They are two different level directors, I would say. Sorry to go on that tangent, but yeah, I find that guy so bland.
I thought there was some things in this episode that were really interesting. Like from a directorial standpoint, it was interesting actually that there is a giant talking ant in this movie, and in this episode, and I was like, oh, okay, that's on the nose, but fine, whatever. I absolutely thought that the X-Wing chase was amazing.
Yes.
Like that, dude, just hearing the sound of the X-Wings, you know, whizzing past with the phew, like, I loved it. Made me feel like a kid again. And, you know, it was awesome to see the rebels, actually not the rebels, rather the New Republic, kind of being in a bit more of an antagonistic role, you know, like before we get to the end, like, you know, them kind of like, dude, them deciding silently to pursue the Razor Crest. Like, you see their kind of like wings go up into the X formation, and I'm just like, oh shit, like, you know, this is about to happen.
Such a great moment. Like, yeah.
It was awesome, man. Like, it was awesome. And like, it was very tense. You know, I liked that they decided not to use a score during the entire chase, which is actually really interesting for Star Wars. Like, it was just completely silent. You know, it's just all you hear is a Razor Crest and the sound of the X-Wings. And obviously just the pilots just kind of ordering him to, you know, just give up. But it was really awesome. I really dug the design of the alien, you know, the aliens that they discovered down on the snow planet. That was awesome. Like the spider creatures, that was really inventive. Apparently, these creatures were supposed to be used in Empire or something like that.
Are you talking about the spiders?
Yes. So the big spider was supposed to be used for Empire, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I think I read that they appeared in Star Wars Rebels, but I'm never going to watch that show.
Right. Yeah. No, I thought it was awesome, but again, it felt very filler. But at the same time, not really, because we've picked up a passenger. like we've picked up probably someone who's probably going to be really important to the rest of the story. Like it doesn't feel completely inconsequential. The Razor Crest itself is hugely damaged by the end of the episode. This episode was a lot more child centric. I like that we got more of the child being amazing with what the child does, eating the eggs and shit, which is absolutely adorable.
And the effects on the child were amazing in this episode. Straight up. I couldn't tell when it was CGI or a puppet. I could not tell.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely great. It was really great. I did think it was a bit of a filler episode and a bit of a step down from the premiere. I am really keen for the next episode to just get into it, like to really hammer home what this season is about, because it doesn't feel like it's about anything yet.
Well, I think just like the last season, the through line is very minimal. Like last time it was get the child to wherever or whatever the fuck it was. And now it's just get the child to its home planet. And the way he's going to do that is find some Mandalorians. I think that's how it's going to be, like, and just the adventures along the way. I think the reason it feels like a filler episode, though, is any storyline where it's like a pit stop on the way to the destination you want to go to will always feel filler. Like it reminds me of like Goku going to heaven or whatever in Dragon Ball, and he falls off Snake Way and he goes to hell for like an episode, and then he's all good back to it by the end. That's what it feels like. It feels fillery, and seeing spiders, just alien spiders, it feels a little uninspired. It's very Dungeons and Dragons-y, where it's like, oh, it's like a thing that you've already seen, except bigger or aliener. But, it was still cool. Like, I think the stakes were really intense. Like, seeing all of them come for him, that was kind of like, fuck, how's he going to get out of this one? And it kind of doesn't. There's a bit of Deus Ex Machina there at the end, but it's still fun. That's what I love about this show. It's always fun, and it's always interesting. I'm never bored, because I'm always just happy to soak in the environments and the places they're in and all that. I thought it was cool with this, this frog lady, when she started running, she like went on all fours as opposed to being like standing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That was like a cool little touch.
I did love the return of Richard Ayoade's robot.
Yeah.
That was really awesome as a big IT crowd fan.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool use of that. All over, like, I just love every episode of this show. I love the ones I haven't seen yet already. Even like the ones that are fillery, I think I'm still going to think
I
are
love
great.
it. So it sounds like a very objective reasoning here.
Dude, I'm just a fan. I'm such a fan, dude. I can't deny that. I think, I would love, though, to see more of a storyline. Like, as much as I say I'm okay with not having it, I know I'd love to show more if, like, every episode, what's his name? Gus from Breaking Bad was like coming after him, or if we saw more of Boba Fett somehow. Like, I don't understand how Boba Fett will even tie into it now, since he's not even on Tatooine.
He is on Tatooine. Oh, Mandalorian's on Tatooine.
No, not anymore. Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, they're setting up all these things. I wonder how they're going to pay off. I wonder where it's going to go. But I'm here for the ride, baby. I'm loving it. Let's move on to some trailers for today, shall we?
Before we do, I just wanted to see what people thought about these episodes. I think I might do this kind of going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of like posting this in the after party. Just, see, we're getting a bit of a discussion going, seeing what people thought about, the last two Mandalorian episodes. So I posted a poll talking Mandalorian on today's episode. What do we think of Chapter 9, The Marshal, Chapter 10, The Passenger? And, I kind of gave them three choices each. So it was either dug it, meh, or nah. Just kind of like, good, bad, neutral. Chapter 9 and 10, most of the people dug it. So, we got pretty much landslide dug it for both. Only a couple for meh, and no one for, the negative. Danielle Cutter was just like, meh. Vivian Duval said, I'm withholding judgment on The Passenger until the end of the season. This last episode feels rather filler, but who knows what will come back around in the end. I agree with that. I think there's if I was to watch season 1 now, without having watched it sort of weekly, I think I will be able to find things where it's like, oh shit, okay, that comes back around. It's because season 1, I remember it being very kind of like, we are setting things up for a purpose. we are setting these characters up for a purpose that will come back later, like Cara Dune and things like that. So I really, really appreciated that. So, yeah, I agree with that, Vivian. And Jose said, I don't mind episodic stories. I think the temptation with sophomore seasons is to try and top yourself from the last season. And with many shows, that doesn't always happen. I'm not a fan of the newer movies outside of Rogue One, but I've always enjoyed Star Wars television. I trust the showrunners of this a hell of a lot more than the movies. If there's a plan that's slowly being shown to us, great. If there isn't a plan, then I trust we're still getting some amazing Mandalorian episodes. Yeah, I agree, man. Like, at least we're going to enjoy the ride, whether it's good or bad in the end.
Yeah, I just thought of something. How mad would you be if the only, thing they do with Boba Fett this whole season is that shot that we saw? Like, what if he doesn't come back another episode?
I highly doubt that.
I doubt it too, but how mad would you be, right?
Oh, totally.
Anything else you want to bring up, or should we move on?
No, let's move on.
You pointed out a trailer that's coming to Hulu for a show called Run.
Yeah, so this movie interests me because it's mostly because of the director. So the director is Anish Chaganty, who directed Searching, which I think was one of the biggest surprises I've seen in the last probably 5 years. That movie was absolutely incredible.
So good.
So the trailer for this looks brilliant. It feels very Hitchcocky. It feels like a kind of a low, a low budget kind of horror movie, mixed with Misery, mixed with kind of Munchausen by proxy, this very protective mother who kind of goes overboard. We have seen those things before, but again, with Searching, we have seen kind of that whole kind of everything being used in a visual medium. So texting and stuff, we've seen that before. But what he was able to do with Searching was so unique that I think he's going to make Run very unique. And, the early reviews have come out for this movie and it's, incredibly positive. So I think Sarah Paulson is an incredible actress. And, given how great Searching is, this movie looks absolutely fantastic. So I can't wait for this.
This would probably not have appealed to me if it wasn't for the director. I love Searching. Searching is incredible. And it's got that really detective sort of vibe with a mystery vibe, the whole unraveling of the mystery. I wonder if that'll be a part of this. Sarah Paulson obviously is awesome. I recently binged with my girlfriend watching what's it called? Ratchet, I think it's called, on Netflix.
Ratchet,
yeah.
Was it good?
It's not my kind of show personally.
Have you seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
I haven't. But no, it's very in my opinion, and I know some people will disagree with me, there's this new genre of horror movies I see popping up, and it goes with anyone who likes American Horror Story as well. And I wouldn't really call this horror, it's more thrillery, but it's the whole I think it's aimed more towards a female demographic, a younger female demographic. There's some violent acts, but it's never really there. It feels too clean. A show like this, that show, it felt too clean for me. But she's great in it, and she's great in everything I've seen it in.
I mean, Ratchet is created by the same person who created American Horror Story, so it makes sense that it's similar.
And it feels if you like American Horror Story, you probably would like this. But I don't really fuck with that show. I only like the first season, and still it's very CW feeling to me. And yeah, I think that's I wouldn't say it's an acquired taste. I think it's a taste that you can get into, but then fall out of. But yeah, she was great in Glass, so many other things. So yeah, I'll probably check it out if I find it somewhere.
People vs. OJ, she was great.
I haven't seen that one either, but I've always wanted to. Let's move on to, speaking of streaming services, The Midnight Sky. I believe that's coming to Netflix. Am I right?
Yeah. So it is.
George Clooney sporting a lovely beard. I think he's been rocking that for a little bit now, right?
I think so. I mean, he's kind of doing the whole Silver Fox thing, where it's just I'm getting older in my age, so might as well. This looks awesome. This is, I'm always down for an original science fiction film. Of course, this isn't super original. It's based on a book called Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks Dalton. But yeah, the cast in this is great. It stars George Clooney is also directing it. Felicity Jones from Rogue One, David Oyelowo, fuck, I always fuck up his name, from Selma, Kyle Chandler from heaps of movies, bro. He's from fucking, The Wolf of Wall Street. He's in, Blood, fuck, what's it? I'm forgetting the Netflix show. Whatever. Yeah. So look, man, I'm keen for this. This looks really, really fascinating. And it's coming to Netflix, so it's fucking easy to watch.
Look, I'll be honest. I don't know what it is, but movies that have a space astronaut suit it's hard for me to want to watch them. Often when I'm watching, there are some great ones, and when you're watching them, it's great. But for some reason, I don't get excited for that. But look, like you said, great cast, and it's coming to Netflix. It'll be easy to watch. So I'll probably check it out given the opportunity. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on this one other than I'm sure it'll be at the very least fine.
Well, I mean, you're not the biggest science fiction fan, right? I mean, when you take out time travel, probably aliens and stuff.
Yeah, I don't really do time travel much. I don't really do astronauts much. Basically, I love both of those things. So. Yeah. I think either good sci-fi that makes you think and has an original, a really interesting, unique concept. On one hand, which is prestigious sci-fi. On the other hand, I love pure trash sci-fi, which is just a fantasy adventure Star Wars bullshit. So it's two very opposite ends of the sci-fi spectrum. Even the stuff I do like that has time travel is not the reason I like it.
Science fiction is one of the only genres that you can kind of tell a unique story that is exclusive to science fiction. So for example, you can't tell a story like Back to the Future without science fiction. As in you meeting your own parents, when they were younger and getting them falling in love. That is inherently a science fiction concept because you can't do it without time travel.
Got me thinking, could you? What if you had some sort of magic spell or some shit? That still feels science fiction-y. Yeah, look, I'll be honest, those things, I don't dislike them. It's just, I don't get excited for it. I've seen many movies with astronauts and many movies with time travel. I love Terminator. I love that fucking franchise. I even like the shit ones, and it's all about time travel. I think I like The Martian a little bit more than most, and that's all about, he spends half that movie in a fucking astronaut head fucking suit. And Interstellar, that's fucking awesome. Wait, do they wear those astronaut suits in that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Are you getting hung up on the suits? Is that why you don't like the movies?
I think that's it. So it's not that I don't like them. It's just they don't get me excited to see them. I see the trailer. When I saw the trailer for Gravity, I'm not like, holy fuck, I need to see this, Even though it's a movie that's fucking seen to be really good by most people. Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, just I don't know. It's kind of it's the same sort of reaction when I see the DreamWorks logo. I go, this probably isn't for me. Doesn't mean it's bad.
That criteria is just fucking bonkers to me.
Look, I don't create these rules. This is my observation based on my track record. I can't explain it. I just tell you.
DreamWorks is Steven Spielberg's company. So are you saying you don't like Steven Spielberg?
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking, who the fuck is it do Shrek?
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks? Okay, yeah, there you go. Their animated movies are often kind of shitty.
Shrek? Often. You said often.
Yeah, and I'd say Shrek 1's pretty good, but the other, I don't think it's aged as well as I remembered. I saw it recently, and I was like, still okay, but as a kid, I thought it was the best thing ever made.
It's interesting. I watched it recently, and I thought it was fucking incredible. I thought it was a masterpiece.
You know what my problem is? It's most of the jokes come down to forced parodies. When they do the Matrix parody, it's where's that coming from?
Okay, but The Matrix had just come out, literally a year before, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think it ages well. And they're not the only ones to do it. Scary Movie, for example, did it.
Well, Scary Movie lives in that realm though, the parody.
I feel there's so many of these references and stuff. It's just I don't know. It didn't land for me the way I thought it would because I used to fucking love that movie. I think it's still great. Eddie Murphy's performance in that is fucking flawless. He's fucking hilarious as Donkey. But yeah. Maybe we should do Shrek as a feature presentation one day.
That is something that I will not be opposed to. Absolutely.
Yeah, because there is a lot of despite of me saying it's not as good as I remember, I'm still nostalgic as fuck for that movie. That's a classic. Let's move on though to something that won't be considered a classic: Nicolas Cage's Jiu-Jitsu. This movie looks like it can't. It's like they're trying to make a movie that is destined for the bottom of a Video Easy barrel or a Blockbuster barrel because it feels like it came out in 2003. The big takeaway from this movie, this trailer, which fucking gets my jimmies jimbled or whatever you want to call it. I don't think none of them are doing jujitsu. They're like every 100 years, a jujitsu fighter is chosen to fight this Power Rangers looking alien, and none of these motherfuckers are even doing jujitsu. Like, what the fuck is happening in this trailer?
Are you asking for an answer from me? Because I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
I have so many questions about this trailer, dude.
Yeah, I have a question. Why the fuck did you make me watch this?
Look, the internet as it's a conversational topic right now.
I think it was a conversational topic when the trailer dropped, which was like 4 weeks ago, and then everyone forgot about it, which is exactly what's going to happen to this movie. It's gonna drop, and then literally no one will talk about it the next day.
We are scraping the barrel today here, folks.
Here's my thing. I like Frank Grillo.
He's great.
I love, did you think I was going to say I like Nicolas Cage? No, I do like Nicolas Cage. Like, I like Nicolas Cage, man. Like, I think he is, for lack of a better term, an interesting actor. You know, like, I was telling you actually, we were just talking about it. I just watched The Rock. And, he is going full Nicolas Cage in that movie. You know, like, he is, my brother and I kind of like have a meter. Like, we call it the Nicolas Cage meter. Whenever we watch a Nicolas Cage movie, we're just like, oh, he's getting up there. He's getting up there, up on that meter. And then, like, he's just like, in that movie, he's just like, so let's go find some fucking rockets. And it's just like, oh, yep, he's there. He's getting there. So I hope he goes full Nicolas Cage in this movie, but I don't think he is. I think he's just kind of like subdued, kind of like, like, I am the master. Like, like some of that bullshit. I have zero interest in this movie. I will not be watching it. I think it looks like something that I don't really turn up for. I can see how it appeals to other people. Doesn't appeal to me. Sorry.
It looks like straight up trash. The only sort of things I could say that are positive is, look, if this movie starred Frank Grillo and Tony Jaa and that was it, I'd be like, okay. But like once you add Nicolas Cage in a leading role, I hate to say, he's a bit of a meme now, so it's hard to take him seriously. And then you give him this concept, even harder to take it seriously. And then you have him fight. Although I do like the design of this alien sort of guy a little bit, but he does look like a fucking Power Rangers bad guy. And so the whole thing just seems really silly.
I mean, the log line, like the IMDb summary, literally it's just the plot line says, a new sci-fi martial arts franchise from Dmitry Logothetis, director/producer of Kickboxer Retaliation. Okay, hold on. You don't get to claim that this is a new franchise with your first movie and the IMDb plot line. You just don't. Like, what? This is the first movie and you're just already claiming that it's a franchise?
It's happened before, but most of the films that claim it, they don't last more than a movie. Remember, what was it, Jumper? They said that was going to be a trilogy. Only got one. What else was there? Fucking Jupiter Ascending was meant to be a franchise.
Yeah, but both of these movies you're talking about, so Jumper was directed by Doug Liman, who actually had pull. He had some weight. He directed a Bourne movie, for fuck's sake. Yeah. And Jupiter Ascending was a $200 million movie, which was directed by the Wachowskis. So that is okay. Who the fuck is Dmitry Logothetis?
Apparently, he co-wrote and directed Kickboxer Retaliation. Not Kickboxer, the Van Damme film that everyone remembers and may or may not like. Kickboxer Retaliation, which I believe is a direct-to-DVD bargain bin reject. Look, I think maybe if this has a chance of being a franchise, it's going to be like the Scorpion King, as in like direct-to-DVD. Nicolas Cage would not return. None of these people would return. The only thing I can see about this that's maybe worth mentioning that we haven't said is this was dropped around the same time as Monster Hunter, which is another film starring Tony Jaa, which goes to like this trend I keep bringing up where it seems to be every time an actor drops a trailer, another trailer comes out starring them. It's like they come out in twos. It's a weird situation.
Hold on. Just hold the phone because I've clicked into Dmitry Logothetis' IMDb profile, and he's got a movie coming up called Man of War 2021, and the plot line literally reads almost exactly the same as this whatever fuck movie we're talking about. Dude, let me read this. So Man of War 2021, the latest action film from creator of The Fast and the Furious, which follows Ray Miller as he tries to save his sons Luke and Travis from a dangerous drug ring. By the way,
what?
He did not create The Fast and Furious. One of the two writers, Gary Scott Thompson, wrote Fast and Furious.
And that's not even like the big blockbuster ones. That's like the classic, car one that car heads enjoy. Oh man, it sounds like this guy's trying to be known as a big name, but it's kind of like he's yet to prove himself.
Don't try so hard, bro. If you don't try so hard, just things are gonna happen. I think people can smell desperation. And I can smell it. Dude.
I don't know if it's desperation, but it feels like ego a little bit. Look, I can see he's clearly taken over the Kickboxer franchise, as in 2016 he did Kickboxer Vengeance, and 2018 Kickboxer Retaliation, and then he's in pre-production for Kickboxer Armageddon. I'm guessing these are all bargain bin sort of things, but like the original, I don't know how we got the fucking rights to this, because the original starred Van Damme and was a classic back in the day. I never saw it, but I just know like martial art fucking 90s, 80s action movies, people like it. But yeah, let's move the fuck on, because neither of us will watch this. Unless
we spent way too much time on this. Please, let's just move on.
If it turns into a meme, I'll watch it, but that's about it. The last one is talking about, I don't know if trash is the right word, but this is this is an interesting trailer. Songbird, from Michael Bay. This one,
producer.
As producing. For those who aren't aware, Songbird, here we go. Here's a synopsis, okay? The logline. Set 2 years in the future during a pandemic lockdown, we follow the budding love story between a motorbike courier named Nico, who has rare immunity, and Sarah, a young artist. And why are they in lockdown? Because of a disease or something called COVID-23. So while a lot of us are still in lockdown, or there are stuff going on with COVID-19, we've got a movie coming out sort of tapping into that, which I think sparks interesting conversation. Zohab, what do you think of this trailer first? What do you think?
I think this was filmed in 2 weeks, because that's what it looks like to me. It just looks like I am not surprised. We knew this was coming, right? We knew that there were going to be movies that were going to capitalize on the current situation that we're in, and it seems a little tone deaf. I think you could do you could probably do a decent story, considering what we've been through, but probably not now, and probably don't call it COVID.
And probably not this.
And probably not this. I don't think Michael Bay is the right person to bring us the story. I can't see there being a subtle touch on this or a subtle take on this. It just looks like something that was just filmed in 3 weeks and be like, here you go, guys. Here it is. Here's Songbird, because we are going to capitalize on everyone's situation. And I'm going to say right here, I think this is going to flop. It's going to flop hard, because no one wants to see this. No one wants to relive the situation that we're in currently on screen. No one wants to see that. I just don't think that they do. Look,
I think to summer it up, the top comment of this trailer on YouTube that I'm seeing now is someone sarcastically writes, that's a nice way to keep everyone calm, which I think sort of ties on the problem. Conspiracy theorists will fucking go crazy for this shit in all the wrong ways. I think it sort of creating I don't know if it's a horror, but dystopian take on lockdown and on COVID while COVID's still going on. It feels, like you said, tone deaf. I would also go a step further to say it's a bit irresponsible. I don't like the approach to this, but I think you raise a really good point. Something I did not notice. You said you think it might have been filmed in 2 or 3 weeks. Looking at this trailer now, just skimming through it, most of it seems to be it takes place within 1 or 2 different apartments with people by themselves.
I think it takes place in 2 days.
Yeah, isolated. Look, the thing that they break it up and try and trick you in this trailer is there are a lot of B unit shots of like showing empty streets and stuff like that, and some army stuff. But if you take all that stuff out, which they're mostly just exposition shots, you're right. It's mostly set within a few apartments. So this feels like it was probably rushed. I'm guessing the script was hastily put together, which is probably why it's so tone deaf.
It fucking makes sense that it's rushed because COVID-19 literally happened, 9 months ago?
And it's still happening. It's not even done. Like,
no, I mean, it started 9 months ago or 10 months ago, something like that.
Yeah, you're right. And they've already finished production by the looks of things. Yeah, look, I think it could be interesting. Like you said, there is a lot of potential for some unique storytelling here. But like right now, the world would probably want something hopeful as opposed. And yeah, look, this could still be a great love story if that's the approach. I think that it could be, there's a lot of potential of tapping into themes of like isolation and how love can work. There has been some cool stuff that's happened from productions through COVID. Like, I know it's a weird thing to sort of bring up, but on Apple TV, there's a show called Raven's Banquet, and they did a COVID episode that was filmed with the latest iPhone 12s. And that was sort of tackled on like how working remotely can have some like effects and stuff on you. And it was actually a really touching episode at the end. And like, wow, that's a great way to handle isolation, I would say.
The Host on Shudder, apparently The Host is incredible. It's only like an hour-long movie, but it's getting some really, really great traction. And it's basically, set through, like Searching, it's set through kind of like a Zoom call because people are working from home and stuff. And like the way it uses the virus as a storytelling device is really unique, but also not as wildly dramatic and cliche as Songbird is quite clearly doing it.
I would watch that. That sounds interesting.
I've got Shudder. You're more than welcome to take my login details.
Thanks, bro. The only other thing I can think of that's come out that's touched on it was the Parks and Rec episode. That wasn't particularly amazing, but it was kind of cool to see everybody back. I am looking forward to the eventual Oscar movie we get that's like goes around this topic, but this won't be it. That's it for our trailers for today. Let's move on to our only review for Honest Thief, starring Liam Neeson.
I've robbed 12 banks in 7 states. I have a little over $9 million in cash. And no one knows who I am.
So I saw Honest Thief. I'll make this kind of quick. This is a very typical Liam Neeson movie. It has a scene where he makes a threat over the phone. No one's kidnapped, but I do like the way they raise the stakes in this and sort of put it all on the line. So the idea is he used to be a world-renowned, amazing jewel thief using his demolition experience in the military. He stole $9 million over, I think, a certain amount of years, and he falls in love, and so he decides that he's going to give himself up in exchange for just a shorter sentence. And he goes, I want to come clean. He comes clean to the FBI, who don't take him seriously. And then 2 FBI agents go, oh, the money is all here. We're just going to steal it and then say, he did whatever. And so then that's sort of generic setup. He's framed. He's got to prove his innocence, blah, blah, blah. It sort of comes down to a showdown between Jai Courtney and Liam Neeson. That's all right. Like these are the roles I'd rather see Jai Courtney do, the more antagonistic stuff. I don't love him as a protagonist, but I like him as an antagonist. Liam Neeson is Liam Neeson in this. He's the same old Liam Neeson you've seen. If you like Liam Neeson movies, this is a good one. It's still like a B grade sort of action flick, but I had fun with it. I thought it was all right. It's nothing too over the top. Something I did find interesting is the low body count. So he's not like he's trying to fight a million cops all the time. It's mostly him against these 2 FBI agents, and there's a bit of a cat and mouse sort of thing going on, which is kind of cool. And that's honestly all I have to say. It's fine. If you're into these sort of movies, you'll like it. I thought it was all right. That's about it, honestly. Very short review. Nothing too special. I will say, though, actually, I forgot to mention in the beginning, I saw another movie recently which weirdly has a lot of similarities to this. I saw Peppermint on Amazon Prime, which came out, I think, a couple of years ago. Very similar setup. I think I preferred this movie over that.
Yeah, I heard Peppermint is not great.
It's not terrible. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a bit unrealistic, and that's more of just a generic revenge sort of plot.
Okay, but you have a low bar when it comes to action films like this, like kind of like the. That wasn't meant as a dig. Like you do have a lower bar. I have a soft spot for him. Right, exactly. So it's kind of like unimaginative, somewhat disposable action films, right?
A lot of them, yeah, they can be kind of interchangeable. Like it's the same plot, sometimes it's the same star, and that's why I think like it's hard to get deep with this one because if you've seen a Liam Neeson, if you've seen Taken, you've kind of seen this. It's very similar. I haven't seen Non-Stop, but I imagine it's exactly the same as Non-Stop in some cases.
I actually really like Non-Stop. Non-Stop is great, but that's only because like I like plain movies. Like like I think the stakes and all of that are really heightened. Heightened. That's a pun.
Have you ever heard June Diane Ratio talk about plain movies on how this get made?
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. Money plane.
I love how this episode we find all these like little sub-genres like sci-fi movies with astronaut helmets and plane movies.
Dude, sci-fi movies with astronaut helmets, that is fucked up. Like
that's weirdly specific. This is a good segue into the MDF game because to tie into this, and we were scraping the barrel for ideas, is what's your favorite Liam Neeson movie? Should I guess yours and you should guess mine?
Yeah, but you'll never get mine. In a million years, you'll never guess mine.
Really? Why is that? Is it not on the list?
It's actually not on the list because the more information I give you about it, just guess it.
Do you want to guess mine then?
Is it Ra's al Ghul?
It was almost a tie. I think that's my second. I was tossing between
Qui-Gon.
that and Qui-Gon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I think Qui-Gon, the reason I go Qui-Gon, okay, so Liam Neeson is very typecast. He's kind of the same guy in every movie. And I think I just prefer Qui-Gon as one, the nostalgia of Star Wars, but two.
I don't know if I agree with that. I saw your comment and I was like, I don't know if he is the same guy in every movie. Like in his later years right now, probably yes, but between Rob Roy, Oscar Schindler, my pick, by the way, that I haven't mentioned yet.
Wait, is it Million Ways to Die in the West?
No, it's not. It doesn't appear on the list. And Million Ways to Die in the West, it does appear on the list. So, like, between all those roles, like, he's not, dude, he's just not. Like, I think you're more familiar with his kind of like later roles.
No, I mean, he's always going like, look, I'm this serious guy that's always trying to make threats and intimidate people. And I feel like the only one he's not doing that is Qui-Gon, where he's sort of Ra's al Ghul channels a little bit of it, where he's like in this mentorship thing. And I think the only reason I picked it is just because it's different and the nostalgia, really. Actually, I've got an idea. Can I guess yours? I got a really out there one.
Sure.
Is it his small cameo in Anchorman 2?
No, but I love that. I love that. You are actually kind of on the right track. I'm just going to straight up tell you, it's his small cameo in Ted 2.
I forgot about that. Oh.
So I watched it again this morning because it was so fucking funny. I was putting the poll together and I was like, man, because like, you know what? Danielle Cutter raises a pretty good point. She says, so going through this list, it occurred to me, I don't really have a famous favorite Liam Neeson performance. Like, he's a good actor, and I won't avoid something if he's in it, but otherwise I might be meh about him. And I don't really think it's that you're meh about him. It's just that he's not really an actor that you kind of like turn out for because, like, you know, he's not really going to go and win the Oscar unless he's playing Oscar Schindler. And he's not going to be someone like, I guess, Leonardo DiCaprio or, you know, like someone like that. Like, he's just there these days, especially.
I feel like it's more like he does one thing and he does it good and he sticks to it and it requires not a lot of range.
Well, yes, but also his comedic roles are absolutely fantastic. Like his role in Ted 2 and Once Upon a Time, A Million Ways to Die in the West, it's very comedic. Like he actually is a hilarious guy, and I think when he's able to, you know, stretch his comedy chops, he's really, really solid.
But my point is, yeah, that is true, but he's still playing the same type of character, which is very serious, very like even when he's in that scene in Ted 2, it's almost like he's about to threaten the person. And he's the antagonist in Million Ways to Die in the West. And like I feel like he is typecast.
Like
okay, that's an exception there. Okay, that's one. I'll give you that. But yeah, like I don't think that's a bad thing. Like sometimes you
Oscar
don't want people to
Schindler's List.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah, you got even though like it's still an antagonistic sort of thing, right?
No way. Fuck
no?
no.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of I'm thinking of someone else. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like for example, when I see, I don't know, Jim Carrey, I'm excited to see him be funny. When he steps out of that, some people are like, oh, I don't want that. I'm okay with it because I think he can nail anything. But
I actually look forward to, whenever actors kind of like step out of their comfort zone. Like that is something that I really, really would love to see more, like happen more often. But like that scene in Ted 2, dude. I mean, like I'm not saying that's like, I'm not saying that that's his best thing, but it's my favorite thing. Like, you know, like it's the way that the question is kind of structured.
What's he say again? Like, he's like.
So let me tell you, because like I just watched it this morning. So he walks into the supermarket and Ted's like there as the cashier and he lays down a box of Trix and it's a cereal like Trix. And the way he puts it down, he's like, here you go. And then he's just like, you know, like I've been led to understand that this is a kid's cereal. And then Ted's like, you know, it's for however many ages. And then he's like, so when I leave with this, I plan to take this home. And then Ted's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then he's like, so when I leave with this, nobody's going to follow me. And then Ted's like, no, that's not in our budget here. and then he pays for it and he's like, yep, cool. And then after the credits, he walks in bloody and beaten and bruised and lays down the box of Trix. And he just leaves limping, dude. Like he's been beaten up over it. It's fucking hilarious. I love it. I actually really need to see Ted 2 again, but the first one I've seen a million times. But yeah, man, like that was just, I remember just a bawling out loud moment in the cinema for me. It was just so good.
I love how with Seth MacFarlane's films like Ted and Million Ways to Die in the West, how they'll sort of pause the story to do like these random sketch comedies, which are very
that's Family Guy, right?
It's very Family Guy. Yeah, that's what I was going to get into. And I don't know why, but it sometimes annoys me when other films do it. But for some reason in MacFarlane films, they're always just great, and I love it. Like there's a scene I always say Million Ways to Die in the West is severely underrated. There's a scene in that goes for like 5 minutes where MacFarlane is just ranting about all the reasons why the West sucks. And I
love it.
It's incredible. Like, and the comedic timing is so well. Movie.
I love the one sheep that's on the roof. Even Sarah Silverman's character and how much of a whore she is, and how genuine fucking Giovanni Ribisi's character is.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's literally got cum on her hair or some shit. And it's just like, man, like this
she's like saving herself for her husband.
It's brilliant, man. It's just brilliant. I love it.
So I'll tell you let me tell you something fun in case you don't know, but do you know why Liam Neeson got cast for that film?
No.
There's an amazing story behind it. So apparently there was an episode of Family Guy once where the joke was Liam Neeson would never get cast as a cowboy because of his Irish accent. And that was sort of like the joke. And then apparently he got approached for this role and he goes, I'll do it, but under one condition. I get to keep my natural accent. And that's his like little fuck you. And then like MacFarlane thought it was funny. So he's like, all right, I'll do that.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool, I think.
So let's get to the polls. There is one clear winner in this poll, and it's Brian Mills from Taken. Now, I think it's a fantastic performance, dude. It's not my favorite. I think it's absolutely brilliant, but he kills it. I mean, like, come on, dude. Everyone's done the phone thing, right?
Yeah.
In second place was Qui-Gon Jinn from Star Wars. Again, absolutely fantastic performance in a shitty movie. Oscar Schindler from Schindler's List. So that was my close second as favorite, but I've only seen Schindler's List twice because that is not a movie that you can rewatch.
I've only seen it once, and it was so long ago. I barely remember it.
Well, it's a movie that, you know, horrible atrocities take place, and Steven Spielberg doesn't doesn't shy away from it or anything like that, which doesn't make for a rewatchable viewing. But then also on the list was Peyton Westlake, who a couple of people voted for. So Darkman is actually a pretty underrated movie, directed by Sam Raimi, and it's the movie that actually got him Spider-Man. And it's actually really, really solid. So I recommend checking out Darkman. Rob Roy also got a couple of reviews. Sorry, Rob Roy, not Rob Roy. Which is pretty good as well. Aslan from Chronicles of Narnia, Otway from The Grey. I think The Grey is pretty fucking outstanding, to be honest. Captain Mikhail Polinen. I've never seen K-19, The Widowmaker. I'm sorry, Patrick. I am surprised that Ra's al Ghul only got one vote, which was really surprising to me. It was like really way at the bottom, but I actually really like his performance as Ra's al Ghul. And David Morrow from The Haunting was Colin's pick. Interesting to me, Million Ways to Die in the West got 0 votes. But, I mean, hey, you know what? You can be wrong. It's fine to be wrong. Roz says in the comments, I just watched The Grey the other week. I got to say, it's another I have a certain skill set kind of movie he does, but I think it's my favorite. Jose said, I voted for Darkman, but am I the only one who liked Million Ways to Die in the West? To which I said, absolutely fucking not, dude. And Jose's just like, I was always so confused by its reputation. The theater I was at just loved it. I actually might watch that again tonight, man. I love that movie. I'm always down in the mood for that movie.
I saw it again recently. It's good.
It's good stuff. Danielle says, so going through this, oh, you know what I'm watching tonight? Fucking Ted 2. I think they added it to Amazon Prime, so I'm going through that. I haven't watched that movie since the theaters. I remember there being like a Jurassic Park joke about weed. I can't remember. That's all I remember. So I can't wait to go back and watch it. Danielle says, so going through this list, oh, I read that one. Sorry. Yes, that's what she says. He's kind of the same and everything. Carlos Freitas says, trying to decide if I like him more in Love Actually or Kinsey. I don't know if he actually voted. Look at Carlos. He's just like, some say that he's still deciding. Vivian Duval says, my mum insists that Excalibur is worth mentioning, 100%. Jose said, I'm shocked no one is picking a supporting role in Kroll. I didn't even remember he was in that. And then he also says, also, he was almost Dracula in Monster Squad. Dude, Jose, don't mention Monster Squad, okay? Because it is going to summon the Colin. Patrick Harrington said he had a great supporting roles in Excalibur and The Mission. Hannibal in the A-Team remake, says Winter Draper. Dude, I love the A-Team remake. I think that is a solid movie. It's fucking stupid, but I think it is really well done.
I haven't seen it. I heard it got trashed in reviews though, so
it's a fun movie, and and I know you will like it. Yeah, it's actually pretty solid. It knows exactly what it is. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, man, that's the MDF game for today.
And I believe that concludes today's episode of upcoming attractions for Midnight Double Feature. Let's get through it. So, if you haven't caught on by now, please follow us on social media. You can join the after party if you want to be a part of the MDF game as our Facebook community group. Please, if you haven't already, give us a review or 5 stars on iTunes. It really helps out the podcast. Other ways you can help out the podcast, you can find The Green Room, which is our Patreon, and by just giving us a little bit of money every month, you can help the show plug along, and you can get bonus episodes. That's right, we do bonus episodes. As Zoe mentioned recently did Reservoir Dogs. Is that right? That was for the bonus feed, wasn't it? Yeah.
We haven't dropped that yet, so that won't drop for a while. So just keep waiting. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, keep waiting. You might have noticed, I don't know if it's still going to be around at this time of release, but recently we put out The Mummy, which was a Patreon exclusive for a temporary amount of time, just so you guys get an idea of the quality of the stuff you're getting there. It is really great. That won't be out forever though. It'll go back behind the paywall. Sorry guys, we got to give them, you get your money's worth. On top of that, you can also support us by buying merch. There are coffee mugs, there are t-shirts, all that fun stuff at midnightdoublefeature.com. And we thank you so much for supporting the show. It is amazing. And every day that we do this, we are constantly amazed about the people who actually give a shit about what we have to say. Our opinions mean something to someone, Zoheb. Isn't that insane? I think that's insane.
Yeah, I don't know if it's our opinions that mean something. I think they just kind of want to listen to some white noise while they do something in the background. But
yeah. Well, thank you for choosing us to be your white noise. And I think that's it for today. I'm Matt. That's Zoheb. See you next time. Laters.